Right guys, it's going to be a 1080 Master Nightfall solo on the Festering core for the Platinum rank, and also for those who are still going for the Magnificent Armor for the helmet objective as well, which you do not need to wear. It will auto-complete when it's in your inventory. So this is going to be this was my first run right after reset, so I used a safe loadout. Not the most efficient because Sleeper Simulant needs a buff, it's not very strong. But it's my favourite exotic in the game, and you can kind of use it in this Nightfall because of this Nightfall favouring ranged weapons. The alternative, better way of doing this would have been either 1k voices or Xenophage. More than likely Xenophage, as it's more people have that weapon. But basically my hand cannon had Osmosis on, as you can see it's got arc. I used a void bow with overloading, and of course Sleeper Simulant, so I have all elements covered. There's a ton of shields in this. Also I used a lot of taken mods, so I had taken Barrier on, taken Armaments, taken Repurposing. I also had Hive Barrier on because the Knights are classed as Hive as well, so Hive Barrier will proc on top of taken Barrier, so that's good to know. I didn't really know the spawns of the Arc Harpies or anything like that, so that's why we're keeping our was keeping our hand cannon out. As every time we do a nade, of course we get arc on our hand cannon, which we need. I didn't know where any of the champions were as well, so this is my first time doing it properly. I have done this Nightfall on the Legacy version, but that's totally different to this. I did not know really where the champions were, stuff like that. Of course, Attrition is on as well. We have Wormhusk Crown on for health regen. So if we are having to fight from range and we can't pick up the orbs for our health regen, then we can at least dodge for our health. 2 harpies here, so we use a nade to take those out. This is our first overload champion to take care of. I was just wanting to inspect his AI. This is the sort of runs that I do. When I'm first trying out a loadout or testing some weapons, this is the sort of run that I'll do. I'll test how the AI of each champion reacts depending on the environment that you're in or where you're standing. Like right here is kind of awkward because you're on a platform, and if you back up, which I've noticed if I back up, he's just gonna be out of sight. So the best way to deal with this guy is just to sort of use heavy on him. You're weak, then obviously got Wormhusk on to sort of dodge to get that health regen. Up ahead there's the first yellow bar, Hydra. Trying to get his attention from back here, use Sleeper. Important that I'm efficient with my ammo because there's no taken for a bit yet, or they're here in bits and bobs, but it's mainly Vex for 40% of the strike. Attrition slows this run down by a ton. If Attrition wasn't on, this run would be easy, a 30, 35, 40 minute run. Not so much this long. So it is a long run, I appreciate that, but it's the first run of me doing it. And it'll maybe look more natural that way, so that when you're doing it, you'll be able to get tips from what I found out in my first time doing this. Obviously this commentary is not live as well, so this isn't me doing it as live as I'm doing it. This is me like commentating after it, just to explain what shields are coming up and stuff like that. So this is our first void shield. Take care of, we've got a void bomb for that. There's more void shields than any other shield. Void shields are the most, and next are arc. There's a lot of arc, and then there's solar here and there. So before we do anything, we're going to take down the Cyclops. The reason for that is that if we jump down, the Cyclops can put a suppression field on you and basically suppress you in like a bubble. Basically a similar mechanic to from Vault of Glass. Same as that. So basically it's on a timer, so if you insta kill the Cyclops, you don't have to deal with that. That's important because if you get suppressed and a champion's approaching you, which there is a champion coming up, then that's bad news. We've got a couple of arc shields here, so we'll take care of those first. We're not going to jump down there at all as well. There's a lot of cover up here. We take the Centurion down first, as he's more dangerous than the Harpies and stuff, as we can hide from those, whereas the Orbs we can't. And health regen is important. We get our next set of ads spawning in with more Arc Harpies and our next champion, which is again an Overload. There's more Overload champions than there is Unstoppables. There is Unstoppable champions in this, but they generally come in pairs. And they're easy to deal with. Thing is with a bow, an Overload bow, is this is why I've got this on rather than running Void Overload nades. It's because with the Void nades, you've got to sort of burst them down. Whereas a bow's consistent every time, you can continually overload the champion like so. Plus on this loadout, when I'm using Sleep Away, it's not the most effective weapon. It's decent, but it's not as strong as it probably should be, which it may get a buff. I hope it does get a buff in November. We used our super there because there's a lot of arc shields, just worth using. Do an aid here to take those out. We're going to have another Cyclops round the corner. Before going round there though, we can take out the snipers and stuff. So this is the Cyclops here, so it's just a good angle to take him from. Always using heavy to take them out so that he doesn't suppress us. Like I said, it's on a timer. I reckon you have about 10-15 seconds before he suppresses. There's also a range to it as well. You have to be within the vicinity of the Cyclops. If the Cyclops knocks off, which he does, which they do, sorry, then you won't get suppressed. We use our melee to take down these arc shields here. That's another thing that makes this Nightfall really difficult, is the amount of shields there is. It just means that you've got to spec out for it. A good weapon for this would be Hard Light, so that would be good. Problem is you can't put any mods in it, so it's good in one way but bad in another. Take this Hydra from range. So again, I'm just scoping out all the ad spawns. I'm unaware really. I don't know half of it. But rather than rerun it, I just wanted to post this one up. As it's not a good Nightfall to farm anyways, because Attrition's on. It is in a team, but solo farming it, no, it's not worth it really so much. Of course, you want to kill all the champions to get the platinum. That's the next Cyclops we killed. Now we're gonna have another champ, which you're probably better off, which you'll see from the mistake I made, is killing the ads first, as they get in the way. So what you want to do first of all is take down all the Harpies, all the ads. The Minotaur can't, he won't push you up this far, so because there's a gap between the platforms, which is nice, just means that you can take the champion from range. Waiting on my nade for these Harpies. Now we're done with the ads, we can actually overload the Minotaur. As far as I'm aware, I haven't seen any buggy Minotaurs so far. I've seen where Sleep has been buggy on them, but they haven't been continually health regenning. But like I said, I've only done one run so far since reset. That's that champ. We'll have another champ directly in front of us, which is easy to deal with again as well, just because it's from range. We're gonna crouch on this wall so the harpies can't get us while we deal with the champion. Like I say, there is many ways of running this Nightfall. I could have ran a different loadout, but like I say, it's just something I thought of straight away as soon as the Nightfall came up. All in total, there's around 22 champions for Platinum in this, so there is a lot. That's another reason why it takes so long. There's a champion pushed to my right, a sniper, so I had to dodge there for my health. If I hadn't had Wormhusk on there, I would have been in trouble. That's the reason why I've got it on. I have a couple more arc shields. Arc harpies coming up. And again, we can use nade for that. It's the beauty of having Osmosis, that we can just sort of rely on that. Again, like I say, it's all down to the shields. We're going to be approaching the plate room coming up. Best to take it from distance, as I've noticed the ad spawns sort of come in waves. You get your initial wave here, and your first champion. There's 3 overload champions. So there's one here, and then there's one for each plate when you capture that. Just scoping out the best way to do this. I found that this cliff area where I'm at right now is good cover, like not bad. We're also not switching off my hand cannon. I wanted to take that sniper, but I was wanting to keep arc on my hand cannon. Take it bit by bit. I must admit though, this Nightfall does feel fun. It feels fresh, even though I don't know if this Nightfall is going to be gone. It feels like we've just got it and it's going to be sunsetted or whatever. Removed because it's on IO technically. But we've barely played this Nightfall. It's barely been up. It's been up as Legacy Nightfalls, but no one cares about that. And it's been as the Ordeal. I think the first time was 6 weeks ago. I think so. So we barely played it, which is kind of silly. It's a good Nightfall. It's a good strike. Pretty challenging solo. There's a lot to it. It's long. Often the longer Nightfalls are better than the sort of shorter ones. Hence why people don't like the Mercury strikes. It does suck going double primary, and I know that slows things down, but it just makes things more consistent. Just the fact that I can take all shields. I have both Unstoppable and Overload on. If I had went a solo subclass, which I could have done, I could have went Inferno Whip, and that way I could at least run a special weapon for more DPS and speed things up that way. But this was just a safe run, looking at it straight away. What's the easiest or the most consistent way to get it done first go, which fortunately is double primary. As if we went back to sort of D2 year 1 ways, but once you'll have the way, they're obsessed with these champions and stuff. I personally, like I've said before, I prefer the older Nightfalls, Prestige Nightfalls, year 1, timed 20 minutes. They were the Nightfalls. If you think about it, 0 hour, Whisper mission, they're timed, so that adds an element of urgency to that activity. Doesn't mean you've got to speedrun it, but you can't just sit back with a scout rifle all day. I do think having this time element to Nightfalls, they should bring that back. You know, I don't know why people have a problem with that. It's, like in other games, they've got time attack runs, they've got, you know, time trials. Why is it such a problem to have time things in Destiny? I don't know why people get worked up about it. At the same time, it encourages you to skip ads when there's a timer. They would have to sort of balance that. I mean, they had a load of modifiers where you shot prisms, things like that, where you used to gain time, so you were sort of rewarded for the knowledge. If you knew where all the orbs were or oracles were to shoot, you get time for it. Or the rings, all those, they need to bring that back somehow. They're relying too much on this champion mechanic, which it's good, but I mean, when you're having to kill like 20 of them in a Nightfall, I don't know. It's more team oriented, like more for team player, whereas for solo it's just, you know, you end up having to run Anarchy and things like that all the time, or Eriana's Vow. I'm just getting sick of using all them weapons. There's so many weapons in this game, so many exotics I want to use in runs, but they're just not viable, or it ends up having a run that's like 40 minutes and it could have been 20 minutes. Stuff like that. And exotics, they should, or every exotic should have you know, you should be able to put anti-barrier, overload, unstoppable in all of them. There shouldn't be anything like that where you can't. So for each phase in this plate section, we're just taking it slow from this cave, from this cliff area. Like I say, it's just a safe way of dealing with it. What you see there as well, with attrition on, you do eventually get health regen, but depends on how long you haven't been hit for, but if it's been quite some time, eventually you will get the full health. Okay, so I'm making sure that I have full ammo, or full-ish, going towards the next section. We can start filling back up on heavy, because we're going to encounter a lot of taken and stuff like that. There's always I've seen that there's often an ad stuck in that rock area for whatever reason. Just leave him. Be sure as well to shoot the box behind you. Forgot about that. Okay, so with this section, your first priority will always be the Cyclops, but you want to shoot him. Don't shoot until he wakes up. If you're using Xenophage, I imagine it would take 3-4 shots to take him down, something like that. Good place to use our super, why not? My super's not very valuable because I haven't used Wormhusk, so I can't use Raiden. Super's not bad, but it's not as good as it could be. But not only that, it's not that useful because of the amount of shields, which mainly there is void shields, so another thing. That was our first solar shielded enemy, which they're always captains, knights. There's not many of them, but when they are up, it can be awkward. This is the thing about, you need to shoot at the right time with these Cyclops, as they sort of turn off. But the ads will wake up, Cyclops. I waited too long here again. You've got to time it right, push up so far so that the Cyclops switches on by the ads. As you can see now, finally the Cyclops wakes up. Take him. And then we've got some more champions to deal with. So this is an overload. Now they're in sniper form rather than the Minotaur. Well, I think there is Minotaurs coming up as well. A bunch of void shield to deal with. That's another reason why we've got a void bow on rather than having like a void heavy, as I wanted something to do decent damage from a distance. Another loadout that I was going to do was Celestial Knight or Golden Gun with Izanagi's Burden, a void bow, and then I arc heavy. Something like that would work as well. So I'll be doing a run on the Titan and Warlock as well. I imagine the Warlock being the easiest. Just because of how the boss works, because this boss is basically, similar to the Prophecy boss, the first Prophecy boss. It's very similar to that. Now we're just filling back up on heavy as we're weak, low on ammo. For our next Minotaur, we are overloading him, like keeping him under that effect, but he'll only physically stop every now and then. So that's why we're backing up and dodging when we can. But these champions are awkward with attrition on. Very mini finisher state. Ideal. Also be aware of these red ribbons or whatever they're called. I'm not sure what they're called, but they do quite a lot of tick damage at this difficulty. As far as I'm aware, it's now fixed as well as Nightfall. It's no longer bugged, so you do take the correct amount of damage. Just feel that way at least. Whereas I know it was only up for like a couple of hours last time it was up. It wasn't up long. There is ads and harpies to my right as well, but there's nothing else up there. There's no additional champs. Every champ you see is just about where all the spawns are. Whether they're random and they alternate between overload and unstoppable, I don't know. Now we're just working on a good angle for this champion here. I also wanted to see whether specifically the snipers, do they go into hide and can we take them down with a bow only, stuff like that. Which this one you can, definitely. There's nowhere for him to sort of go to hide, but some of the snipers can, and they do when they get low health, which is not ideal. So I use my nade there, forgetting that they're all void shields. That's fine. We've got taken repurposing on, so we can instantly get our nade back. Highly recommend these mods. If you do not have taken mods and you're trying to do a solo on this, I just say don't bother. Just go in and get a team and do it that way. As you can see, it took me quite a long time. I have all the mods, and it's still a really long Nightfall. I mean, if I'd used an optimal loadout, like I said, double primary Xenophage, that would have been a lot quicker than this. But that's what I advise people do, which I'll end up probably doing a run with Xenophage on maybe the Titan, and then maybe do a Warlock run with a sword, something like that. Which that's a key thing as well. If you do run a sword like Fallen Guillotine, that can deal with all the shields. So that would be an even better run. The only thing then the problem with that run, which I thought about, is that if you're running a sword, the problem is going to be the Cyclopses. So at that point you probably want to run, you wouldn't be using double primary, you probably want a special weapon. Because they are really, it's urgent that you need to take them out, with attrition being on and stuff like that. And they're pretty tanky. They're at the boss as well. These ones aren't so bad, the orange bar ones, but when you get to the yellow bar Cyclopses at the boss fight, they need to be melted down. Guess we took down this Solar Shield Captain. That's what I was wanting to deal with before these ads. This is a good opportunity as well to fill back up on max heavy, which mine's 11 for Sleeper with double linear reserves.
Zavala, This whole sphere is a dedicated processing structure. A giant Vex computational array.
What could the Taken want with a Vex computer?
The Taken want nothing.
Yeah, so with this area, I was scoping it out to see how the champions again would react. I know that there was there's this orange bar Minotaur. I want to take him out first as he was spamming me. But what I realised is that you can't take these unstoppables from range unless you sort of burst them down straight away, as they just go to hide. Stop him. That's kind of annoying as well with Slaver, the fact that he does that. Yeah, at this point, what I realised is once I jump down, that the Cyclops up above is going to switch on. At that point, that means I'm going to have two unstoppables chasing me while I need to quickly burst down the Cyclops. So I was just thinking about how to best deal with it, as the Cyclops, we're not going to be able to turn him on up here. I also had a super as well, so I was thinking I could use that as a safety. We get a dodge for our health and take down the Cyclops. We stop on the first ogre, get unstoppable, getting weak. I'm going to stop the next one as they'll boot me off if I don't. This is a modifier, increased knockback damage. Worked out, ended up working out in the end, which is fine. So what I ended up doing after this is taking down the ogre in the middle, and then rather than getting the plate in front of me, I worked out that the best way to do it, because I have done solos in this, just so I know basics, I know things like this, so we can get the plate at the back rather than the plate in front of me, because the plate at the back, if you push up in this room, it spawns in the additional adds. That way we can take them out without having to deal with all the scions, because scions and things spawn later on. But to stop all that from spawning, you just don't get the plate at all. Just push up to this plate, and that will spawn in this this set of adds, which ends up being a yellow bar phalanx, which is not a champ. I could have swore that he was, but he's not. But we do have an overload sniper. I was just thinking where the best angle would be to take him from. This was not so bad, but I think he ends up going to cover. Mainly because I think I went to cover, that's why he did. So I thought, take the yellow bar first, reset. Always reset, rather than waste ammo. But with this overload, best to sort of keep line of sight. That's the main thing, and try and take out this overload as quickly as you can. Like I say, when they get low, they can sidestep into cover, and then if they do that, they'll just regen all their health. We'll get this plate first. This will then spawn in adds in the middle. It won't spawn in the scions yet because they're on the first plate spawn, I believe. We'll take down the ogre first, as the ogre can hit me, but the knight cannot. Fun fact about Overload Arrowhead is that you can use it on any ad, and that will debuff the ad, so that the incoming damage towards you is reduced by a significant amount. I'm not sure the percentage, somebody did tell me, I forgot. But it's a good 10% or something like that, or 15, something like that. And it works on every enemy in the game, Overload. So Overload Arrowhead, I mean, it'd be the same for any Overload shots or Overload rounds, anything, but if you hit an enemy with that, they actually glow. Now this is where the Scion spawned, but as I realised I didn't need to, because I got both plates, I just avoided them. Plus I was full on heavy
weapon has a
ammo.
signature that is
Um,
eerily similar
pretty
to those
good.
found in the Dreaming City.
We're gonna have unstoppables now. They often spawn in pairs, like I said, never just one. Whereas with the overlords, it's just one. You can actually shoot these orbs.
There's no
While they detonate.
certainty where the Witch Queen is concerned, but I have strong suspicions. Above all,
And I was just thinking
she
how
seeks
to
knowledge
approach
to
this,
inform her
what the best way
plans,
will be.
and seeks pawns to carry them out. The sphere offers both.
So 2 taken Minotaur spawns in with 2 unstoppables at this part. That's not too bad. This cover here is not too bad, as even if the unstoppable gets really close, you can always back up to here. I wasn't reloaded, so came back. As unstoppables can only be stopped every couple of seconds or so. Now 2 shots, dodge, reload out of it. We'll come back to our safe zone. Our next unstoppable. Finish here. And then we've got the Minotaurs to deal with. It's actually more than 2, looking at it now. We're just trying to bait out the first unstoppable as well, which is Stormy. Gonna do that. This next part, which we're going to be coming up to plates again, isn't too bad. There's void wizards and stuff like that. You can take them all from range. So luckily there isn't champions for wizards yet, so it's very good. So this part, like you can see, you can take it slow, safely. There's no urgency. That's the thing with this Nightfall. It's a really good Nightfall, really long, well designed, but it's not like where it's frantic. The boss fight is a little bit, but even then, the boss fight, the boss room's so big, like it's quite big. There's a lot of cover, so it's not like where it's Savathun Song or something like that. I'm just being cautious of the boot walls as well, because I don't want to be physicked in a wall because of that modifier. Always be careful when there's modifiers like that on. We just want to get this Minotaur weak for some heavy. We only get 3 per brick. Even with linear scavenger, we still get 3 per brick. So it's just how it is with Slaver. Like I said, Xenophage will be much better for DPS, ammo wise, the ease of use, everything. And the run will be similar to this, it'll just be a lot quicker, better for DPS and all that stuff. So now we're just going to take down the wizard from, well, the wizards from distance over here. They don't fire at you or anything. It's really good. What surprised me as well about this Nightfall is that there's champions at the boss fight, which is a good thing in some ways. As not a lot of Nightfalls have champions at the boss. I mean, there's a couple. Yeah, so not knowing the spawns, I knew that there would be another spawn as I jump up, but I didn't know what would spawn in, so being safe, like I said, on the first run of the week, we jump up first. Like to play it. And see what spawns in. I thought it was going to be like additional wizards, Minotaurs, maybe a champion, but no, it was just like all for all. But that's the thing with this video, is you can take tips from where all the spawns are, where all the champions are, how to get platinum, things like that. whatever reason my grenade didn't register on those ads. Funny, but it's fine. So you want to be going obviously with the boss fight with max ammo. As much like that means bow ammo, hand cannon ammo, everything. Well, mainly bow ammo because that's so important. There is a couple of unstoppables. I think there's 2 in the whole
That
thing.
must be the anchor. The Taken's route into the sphere. Destroy it.
But there's a couple of overlords. They are dangerous, as they don't just, you can't just stand and kill them from a vantage place. Like right here, I can start clearing ads from here, but the problem with this is that if I do that, the overlords will hide in the blight. So that's what I've found that the AI with these champions, how they work. Also, when you jump down, you get an additional acolytes, stuff like that, which they are all void shielded. Nearly every enemy that spawns at this boss fight is shielded in somewhere. That's what makes this boss fight interesting for that, but also slow. We've got a Night of Day wave, of course we've got Labor for that, which is pretty good. Okay, so that's all that's down. Now if I was thinking 2 ways of doing this. I could have took down the blight, but that would have spawned in the boss with maybe ads. I'm not 100%. So rather than doing that, I wanted to clear the overloads before taking down the blight, which proved more difficult than I thought it would be. As like I said, they like to retreat in the blight. I think ends up happening right there. So that's one thing with this. So I ended up using a super, seeing if I could take down, which I didn't. That was kind of a waste, to be honest. Also enrages them because of the amount of damage you're doing, whereas the bow will not enrage them. So we reset from there. If we get a better angle. The best thing with it is to try and keep line of sight while dodging their shot, which is hard. But the better strat would definitely be to spawn in the boss, so that the blight's gone, so that they can't really hide anywhere. The only problem with that is that you're gonna have ads everywhere, assuming that he spawns in with ads, 100%. When it gets down to 1 overload, it makes it a lot easier, because then you can push in the blight if needed. Also being conscious of my ammo, as we need plenty of ammo, really. Grenade kill on him, so now we'll take down the blight. And on with the boss himself. Now the boss is interesting, he has an interesting attack and stuff, but he's not too dangerous from range. He gets more aggressive on the last phase. There's 3 phases to this fight, so you cannot one phase the boss or anything like that. You maybe can on lower difficulties with a fire team and stuff, but he has 3 phases, 3 immunities. Also his crit spot, which I didn't realise at the time, is his head, not his backpack. I thought he worked like the other enemies with the Cabal with backpacks, where their crit spot is the backpack itself. Also, I haven't fully worked out all the ad spawns yet. Like, it's not just free ad waves. They spawn. They're linked to his HP, 100%. I think every half a bar. So his HP is split into 3 bars. I think every half of 1 bar is an ad phase. And then when 1 full bar is taken, it's a Cyclops champions, from what it looks like. So I'm using Overload Arrowhead to reduce the damage I'm taking from him. As you can see, he's glowing, so that's showing me that's happening. I think it's right, it's about half of 1 bar and then you get the ad phase in, which is what we want because we need the damage. We need ammo. That's the thing I was struggling with Slaver by using. With using Slaver, I was struggling for ammo, even with Armaments. I was always wanting more ammo, as it doesn't do much damage to the boss. And we got double primary on. This is where taking Repurposing comes in handy. Every time we take down a Void Shield. That's why we've got a Void Bone, because they are your main shields to take. On other subclasses, yeah, you'll be able to take down their shields with a nade and stuff, and especially top tree Nova Bomb. But on this class, I mean, you could on a Night Stalker as well with bottom tree locked arm nades. Just dodge, invis, get your nade back each time. A little bit more DPS. We'd also want to take down each ad phase, each set of ads before we take the next phase, as that's just more ads to deal with. So that was something I thought that I needed to do. Like I said, this boss is super tanky at this. I don't know why he's I don't know whether it's sleeper or just that he's tanky. Obviously another good weapon would be Anarchy. If you have it, use it. I'm just not using it because people don't have it, so why would somebody watch a video of mine if they do have Anarchy? Like, to do it without, if you've got it, use it. It's most powerful. It's basically Galahorn of Destiny 2. Use it. If you've got it, use it. Always advocate of that. I'm just not using it because I'm showing how to do it without things like that. Sleeper's not hard to get. Most people have this. Not a lot of people that don't. If you don't have it, you're probably new to the game and you don't realise that there's a quest for it or whatever. But to most players, they have this weapon. It's common. Okay, so now we've done a third of damage, so we're going to get the Cyclopses spawning. They have to be taken down. You have to take them down instantly, because if you don't, they'll detain you in their bubble and you'll take tick damage, I believe. It hasn't happened to me because, like I said, this was my first run on this difficulty, but I'm almost certain you'd struggle. I mean, obviously we've got Wormhusk on, so it might not have been as bad as I thought. This is where we've got champions at the boss fight as well. It's an Overload Minotaur. The best strat would have been is to leave a lot of the ads up and have the Minotaur fight the ads like so and take him out that way, but we actually stupid first, which wasn't the play, because now there's no ads for the Minotaur to be distracted with. The Minotaur's only going to push me, and they are aggressive at the boss fight, more aggressive than what they have been. There may be somewhere up above or a platform you can get to. Again, I haven't really experimented with this arena, but there will be. Okay, so we'll do our first overload. We found a little bit of cover, but we'll have to sort of juke him out, just because he's going to obviously push us. So this is just sort of how we're going to take him. We haven't got much ammo either, and we need some for the knight. There's a stolen knight in the middle. Whatever that was, I don't know. He overloaded twice in one go. Not sure why. Obviously we dodged as soon as he gets close because we're low on health. We got him in his finisher state, so we got rid of him. Okay, so the trigger for the boss coming back was the champion, I believe. As there was still a knight alive. Generally the champions aren't a trigger, so that's interesting. We have 2 shielded knights to deal with. We're going to take that. I was getting booped, but there's a lot of boop walls in this arena as well. Kind of annoying. But I guess just knowing the map, knowing where to stand, stuff like that. Which I don't fully know myself, but but that's what it's all about, finding out, perfecting things. Again, we're overloading the boss, so his attack doesn't do much damage. Plus, he doesn't have that many range attacks. He has an attack where he does a purple orb at you, which he doesn't start doing until later on in the fight, but that can be dangerous. I've seen that get me half health or less from one blow off it, so that's another thing. We got more heavy off the knight. Good. That's one thing with this run. I played too safe and should have used way more ammo than I did on the boss, but like I said, it's still showing the basic strat of how to complete this boss fight. So same again, when he gets sort of halfway off his second bar, we'll get an additional spawn of adds. I think the Vex and Taken spawn in, which is good because they fight each other, so you can take them out. Then when he gets to a 3rd HP, we'll fight the last Cyclops, which I could not remember at the time where exactly the Cyclops spawns. That's why we're standing up here. At this point we're close to a super, so we're going to end up using that for DPS, as we want. I noticed from the first Cyclops kill is that it takes quite a couple of shots of Sleeper to take one down, so that's why I was saving a bit of ammo, and there's no ads to get armaments off, so that's why we're being a bit more conservative with our ammo. We use a super here. We dodge first, so we take reduced damage on bottom tree. That's another thing I haven't talked about, is that on bottom tree there's a perk called Focus Breathing. It's gonna pop up, should pop up on my screen when I run about a bit, but basically that just gives you increased melee energy, grenade energy, I think class ability energy as well. I think it's class ability, so you just get more energy that way. It's really good, bottom tree, for survivability. Not as good as top tree for damage wise, but it's good for surviving. Now we've got our 2 unstoppables, so 2 champions. After this we'll have one more champion, a Minotaur, and then that'll be for the champions, no more. Unstoppables aren't dangerous really, they'll just stand there, they won't push. Taking a note of how many ads were alive. Kind of waiting on my nade as well. No shielded enemies. So it isn't every enemy that's shielded, but most of them are. Waiting on my nade for more ammo. Now we're going to push up a little bit, just to hurry this along a little bit more. Wanted to save a bit of ammo for DPS for later on and stuff. Champion one shot. Now we're nearly max ammo, so we're good. Not too bad this day, I promise. triple tap Osmosis. It's actually a really good role for end game content like this. Okay, so that's now the champion dealt with. Now we need to do DPS again. Waiting for the boss to position himself. We just need to get him to 1 bar of HP. It's best not to stand in the middle as well when you're approaching another phase of damage, especially when it's Cyclops phase, as you don't want to be getting locked in to his attack while being in the middle. That's why we're on the outskirts, so if we were to get locked in, if we weren't, but if we were to, at least we're in cover. Okay, so that's the end of that phase. Now I'm just looking around for where the Cyclops spawns. Apparently it's top left. First shot was immune but took damage, so it's just buggy Sleeper. I don't know why. Wait, I've done too many shots there. A couple of crits missed and stuff, but anything, it's down. Now we've got Vex fighting. Just take no spawning soon. We're gonna take down the Minotaur, which this is a really good place. Where I'm standing. This is where I could have maybe stood for the overload that I took down earlier. Making sure that the I don't lose line of sight. Minotaur, that's important. Right, now we're good. Could have used a super on these, but I was wanting to save it just because our DPS is low, so I may as well use my super for that, as it's not good for much else. Gonna go in for a melee, but I didn't realise it was Fanatics. And we use a nade for that. We had our hand cannon equipped just in case they didn't all go down. Pick up any ammo. Now we're on the last phase of the fight. There's going to be no more immunity. There will be more ads spawn in, but these ads do not need to be cleared. That's his Orb Attack that I was mentioning. Like I said, it does a lot of damage. So first thing is to sort of move out the way when he does that. The dodge also lingers on the floor as well, so something like that would melt you pretty quick if you stood in it. So now I'm getting this Minotaur weak so that we can farm ammo off him. I also blinded him with my melee ability, which is only on infantry. I had to do that there, else I would have died. Minotaur's weak, get our heavy going, good. Now we're dealt with our heavy. Dodge for full health first. We can do another dodge in our super. And then we'll use it on the boss to get him weak. I think there's heavy close by, yeah, to the left. I'm just looking for, as I got booped, but it's down there, it's down below. Overall, like I said, this Nightfall's really good. It's a good one to do. It's not good for farming or nothing, but it's a fun one to play. Maybe because I haven't played much of it. That's basically the solo completion of that on Platinum with double primary, no Pinnacles used, no Oppressive Darkness, nothing like that.
Savathun
Hope you enjoyed,
is
thank you.
gathering her strength, Zavala. If we hope to survive what's to come, we must prepare.
We defeated Oryx. If Savathun wants a fight, she'll get one.
She is not as foolhardy as her brother. She would never risk a direct confrontation. We will know her next move only when she makes it. And only if we're wise enough to recognize it.